Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg for lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center. Your sport, anytime.
At Absolute Landscape, we believe that a great landscape is about transforming a space to exceed every expectation. From intricate hardscapes to lush green gardens, our goal is to bring vision to life. Creating outdoor environments for our clients, we offer services from design to installation and maintenance of your outdoor space. Enjoyment all year round is what Absolute Landscapes is all about.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Genova's to Go, Carroll Lynx, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, and Absolute Landscapes. You're watching the Central Maryland Sports Network, a community media center programming service.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, whichever it is, and welcome to the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. We've got Westminster taking on Manchester Valley, a pivotal Carroll County boys lacrosse county clash. I'm Pat Stetzer, joining me, former South Carroll coach Grady Breen. Coach, thanks for joining us. The game got moved up to 5 p.m., but I appreciate your flexibility.
Absolutely, Pat. Glad to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to it. The Owls come into this one at 2-2 overall and 2-0 in Carroll County. They're going to be trying to hand the Mavericks their first loss of the season. Westminster has 4 players with 10 points or more. We're going to get into all this as the game goes on. Jacob Spiegel leads the team with 8 goals so far, but they have a challenge facing them here. Man Valley is halfway to winning the program's first ever Boys Lacrosse County Championship. Tonight figures to be a challenge. The Mavericks are 5-0. And 3-0 in the county at this point. And there's our players to watch match up for the time being. Jack Hitchcock of Westminster, Matthew Ferran of Man Valley, a pair of football standouts from the fall, doing their thing this spring for their lacrosse teams. Grady, both these teams have balance. We'll talk about more players as we go on here tonight. What do we expect out of maybe those two guys? You know what you're going to get out of Jack Hitchcock, Ferran, a piece of the puzzle, both pieces of the puzzle. What do you expect?
Yeah, I think this game is really going to come down to offenses. And, who's going to be limited a little bit more so. Yep. Hitchcock, Fran, both very talented ball players that really know what they want to do. Face-offs, who's going to be able to get more possessions to their studs, right? Who's going to be able to get more touches? Because this game, I think, is going to really hinge on that. Yep. Because, a great way to limit one of your studs is never get them the ball. So that's looking at kind of the middle of the field and how that's going to relate. When we were over at Liberty South Carroll, yep, that was a big determining factor. Yep. Goalie play. How's that going to look in between the two teams? So I'm really excited. This game's going to have a lot of ripple effects because if you can feed guys like Hitchcock and Fran good things are going to happen.
Yep, no doubt. We're expecting to go in here from Manchester. Let's go ahead and take a look at the team stats ahead of tonight's game. Westminster has scored 27 goals in those 2 county games combined so far. Man Valley's defense giving up less than 5 goals per game. So a nice matchup of a potent offense, Coach, against a stingy defense. You just talked about it a little bit. Does one side have the edge going into this one, or is it going to be just, hey, it's a county matchup, let's throw those stats out and get at it?
There's a lot of times in my career, Pat, where I was going to go out and say, okay, it's going to be like this or it's going to be like that. It's really hard for me to say because county matchups are county matchups.
Yeah.
I am intrigued to see how Man Valley's defense plays against a really talented Westminster offense.
Mm-hmm.
They're still fairly young, which is wild to say. They've been young, but they're really talented. They know what they want to do. So it's how can they limit those opportunities and also play well in the middle of the field and say, hey, we're not spending a bunch of time on our defensive end.
Right. Both teams have stars up and down the lineup. We're going to see those lineups here momentarily. And before we do, we can take a quick look at the Carroll County boys lacrosse standings as we get back out to field action as we get set. And the Carroll County standings look like this. We can talk a little bit as it goes along. There's Man Valley at the top at 5-0 and 3-0 in the county, and Westminster at 2-2. Those 2 losses against pretty good opponents. We can talk about that as we go too. And then both 2-0 there as well. All right, time to see those starting lineups for tonight as the players are on the field getting ready. And we just mentioned some of these names. Grady, also Gavin Reed over there, attack for Man Valley, he led the county, I should say, in scoring last year. He's off to a pretty good start here so far as well. There's Ferran in the midfield with Calhoun and Phillips. A good defense, Hackler, Upman, and Stack, and Gabe Howard, who we'll see in the goal for the Mavericks. And then over the flip side, you got names we've heard a lot, and you've coached against them, Hitchcock, Zepp, Arnsmeyer, a lot of good assists for them. Spiegel had the game winner the other night against South Carroll. Conference, Stinnett also in the middle. I think Stinnett's their Fogo guy. And then defenders, Trey Fleming, Travis Mann, Wyatt McNamara, and Wes Zengraft in the goal for the Owls. Before we get to the national anthem, Grady, and get set for the game, you've obviously coached against both these teams last year. Man Valley made that run to the 2A state playoffs and fell just short against Huntingtown. And Westminster, its expectations are always very high with Westminster, and you faced them all many times through the years. Did one of the two, did you have to match up against them a little or prepare for them a little bit differently? Or was it, again, it's Carroll County, there's some parity here. We know if we play our game, we can make a dent here.
So historically, Pat, Westminster's really had an ability to reload rather than retool.
Yep.
There's definitely something to be said for that. Offensively, you're always going to have to expect an onslaught. They're going, as we said off air, they're always going to be good up the middle. Fogo, goalie, attack. Usually a really talented pull in there, which is in any sport really hard to face.
It's a good mix. Yeah.
They're playing make it, take it. They're stuffing you out. This Westminster team seems a little bit more offensively laden than past years.
Not just one guy.
Not just one guy. Yeah. They're gonna swing the ball around. So if they can play well in the middle of the field, I think that bodes well for Westminster. Man Valley, as we said a couple weeks ago, Coach Piper really knows how to do some things. I think a lot of teams, a lot of people in the area were expecting this team once Grant Miller graduated to say, okay, hey, Batman's gone. What's Robin gonna do?
Yeah.
Right? And Man Valley is like, okay, we reloaded.
Didn't miss a beat.
This team might be even better than last year's team.
Yeah.
It's a little bit harder to cover because you can't just be like, well, hey, Miller's gonna shoot some shots.
Right.
They bring Reed back. I think it's a little bit more by committee, which is to their strength. They're undefeated so far. I think that win against Middletown's a really quality win. Middletown's kind of gone up and down in Frederick County, but that's a quality win for them. So heading into county play with the momentum that they do have, Man Valley should feel really good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Whoever wins this game tonight, too, it's going to be a quality win against a really good team. Let's head back out to the field. We're getting set for the opening face-off between Westminster and Manchester Valley, the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. Again, moved up a little bit, 5 p.m. Glad you're with us here as we get set for action. There's the Mavericks huddling up. And, just like we did 2 weeks ago, Grady, the first few minutes of the first quarter is a good time to sort of find a little bit of your in-game identity. I would say if you're the Owls, you want to come out just like you did against South Carroll last week, just a little bit of aggressive. We saw that in the Liberty South Carroll game, too.
For sure.
A more aggressive team here is going to get the edge early on.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think Man Valley kind of wants to settle in, make sure they don't, frankly, shoot themselves in the foot early. And I'm not saying they have, but we saw that 4.8 goals against so far this season. They're going to want to, hey, let's limit that early. Let's make sure we're all in our situations. Let's really button down, cross our T's, dot our I's, and then go from there. Because you don't want kind of allow some breathing room with a team like Westminster. They're playing make it, take it, or you allow a couple gimmies earlier because you're not matching up well.
Yeah. You can see and hear a little bit of the wind there. We were just talking, Grady and I, before we came on, that it does tend to get a little windy there. You see people are certainly bundled up on the sidelines. And, wind probably helps the field conditions. That they obviously moved the time of this game to try to stay away from any potential rain. But the wind could play a factor in the game. I think obviously it rained on us a little bit at Liberty as well, too, in our first game of the week, in the boys' game of the week, rather, between South Carroll and Liberty. That one went down to the wire. I'm expecting this one to be pretty good, too. So, let's buckle up and hopefully have a good game here between Westminster and Manchester Valley. And it looks like it's going to be Grant Stinnett for Westminster at the Fogo and Ben Phillips for Man Valley. And here we go.
Stinnett, nice little win there.
First one goes to Westminster.
Westminster good about getting the ball deep behind the cage at X. Now, you'd be surprised, Pat, to realize some of the ways Westminster real aggressive early coming out of that ground ball in the corner. But we can't forget how much wind can affect a lacrosse game, right? We might think about more like baseball or football, kicking situations, if you will. But communication's going to be harder.
Sure.
Relaying calls is going to be harder. So those little factors, especially, going from man up to even, right? Is everyone hearing the situation? Is everyone hearing calls from the sideline? Is a long clearing pass? Is it going to be just enough affected?
Right.
So this is going to be interesting how that plays as the additional variable other than just these two teams.
So there's a foul there. Looked like it was Jack Hitchcock, number 3, who tried to get around the back of the goal. Then a foul committed, and now the Owls are passing it around. There's Hitchcock, shot a little bit high. Let's see who backed that up. Going to be Westminster's ball still.
Zepp bringing it in from the corner.
Yep, Chase Zepp, number 10. Talented attack. Junior, as is Hitchcock. A lot of these guys, we feel like there's a shot off the side of the net, I believe. But Jacob Spiegel backs up. Another junior. And a quick pass from Spiegel, and that's Liam Arnsmeyer. And the Owls strike first.
Interesting to see, Pat, just how aggressive Westminster came out. And it makes sense, but for them to, barely get 2 touches before they were really taking their defender to the cage. And, if Man Valley ends up with a lot of man-down situations, that's really going to bode well for this talented Westminster offense.
So 1-0 Westminster here early on.
Phillips at the Fogo.
Yep, Phillips and Stinnett once again. And Stinnett had it momentarily, and the Owls get another one.
Comfer with some solid wing play. Definitely a Manchester Valley defense is going to want to press out, press hands.
Oh, quick one there. Comfer finds Tyler Wareheim. And just like that, the Owls up 2-0.
Westminster goal number 5, Tyler Wareheim.
Pretty impressive start here, Grady, for the Owls.
Yeah, it's funny because you look at a defense and they're shutting adjacents, they're pressing hands, but that also makes you that much more vulnerable if things aren't perfectly buttoned up on the backside, Pat. And as we were saying in the pregame, don't try to give this team a couple gimmies.
Yes.
Right? Don't let this thing snowball because you don't want a team like, okay, now we're feeling good, now we're feeling hot. It would be great for Manchester Valley if they can win this next face-off. Really tie up. Oh, looks like a violation on Westminster, so Manchester Valley ball.
Yep, started early there, I believe.
Dan Harmon picking up the ground ball.
Like you said, they needed that one. No matter how they were going to get it, they needed that one.
Yeah, it's really hard to, stay the tide.
Oh, there's a nice shot in the score. Number 12 for
Gavin
Valley.
Reed.
Gavin Reed.
Number 12, Gavin Reed.
So all of a sudden, the pressure's off, right? You hit the release valve, you get that violation at the X. But rather than being conservative, Manchester Valley just goes right to it. Gavin Reed with a nice little back cut there, and before you know it, it's 2-1.
Yeah, I was going to say, they know that obviously it's still very early, but they want to play their game. They're not going to sit back and just try to take a deep breath there. They want to get on their offense, and when you got a guy like Gavin Reed, who we said led the county in scoring last year, you got a good chance. Another win, though, by Stinnetts. That's 3 of the first 4 for the Owls, but looks like a takeaway, and now Man Valley has the ball. Into the zone comes Ben Phillips.
Nice little crowbar move there for the viewers at home. He put his stick in and was able to lift his bottom hand. Makes it hard, especially for a Fogo.
Shot got hit by a defender, and now the Owls come away with this. So a good job on defense by Westminster. Good play run there by Man Valley.
For sure.
Passing into midfield. Oh, takeaway.
Here we go.
Break for a defender. Oh, shot wide. Shot taken by 23, Simon Calhoun, who's going to back it up. Stayed in bounds, actually. Fight for it here in the zone. Let's see, out of bounds, and Westminster ball.
Tough break there for Manchester Valley. You know, they get kind of the momentum ride. They were able to jump the midfielder as he came back for it. Misses it, but as we were talking about those field conditions, that's one of those ways that, you know, the weather can affect these things. Balls that you're, you know, sure are going to roll out, don't roll out, and all of a sudden it becomes a 50-50 that you expected to be, you know, out of play.
A few minutes into the opening quarter, Westminster has the 2-1 lead. Nice move by Hitchcock there. He's around the goal. He's going to maybe try. Nope, going to pull it back out. Up to the top of the line. That sort of play is going to obviously draw a defender. So if you're Man Valley, you want to make sure you spy a couple of Westminster's top guns. Good defense there. Arnsmeyer.
Arnsmeyer, a really talented feeder so far this season. Definitely a guy that they want to really be able to play his hands, not let his eyes stay kind of through his defender.
They were in the crease there momentarily, so turnover there, and now the Mavericks will have it. And a good clear here by the Mavs. So Mavericks maybe have settled in now after the first few minutes of Westminster. Those first 2 possessions turned into goals.
Tough break there for Manchester Valley.
Didn't get it over in time.
Didn't get it over in time. 20 seconds to midline, 10 seconds in, and unfortunately, we're just a little too lackadaisical.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Oh, nice check there.
There's a check out of bounds. So both teams feeling each other out here early on.
We're 4 minutes in, but I'm already stressed.
And we're not even there. We're back here in the CMC studios. As a coach, you're already stressed out. Seeing a couple of those unforced, I'll put it in quotes, errors. Of course, both teams trying to play pretty good defense here, but the one who makes the least amount of those, like we just saw there, is probably going to be the winner here tonight. But we got a long way to go, and glad you're in with us here for the CMSportsNet Game of the Week as the Owls bring the ball into the offensive zone.
So if you notice there, Pat, that pass in the crease, and we've noticed it a couple other times, like the increased moisture is really making passing a question mark. And nice goal there by Chase Zepp off the feed from X. But as I was saying, the increased moisture is going to make passing a hassle because mesh is stretching, whips increase. So we might see a little bit more iso ball or some unforced errors just on a bad pass that is uncharacteristic for how skilled both of these teams are.
It's funny, Westminster was playing patient there, and then they needed to find a teammate to pass it to. They got it right to Hitchcock. He put the burners on, got right into the offensive area, and a quick goal there. So the Owls have scored quickly here, 3 goals in the first 4.5 minutes.
All 3 similar looks, though. Mm-hmm. The great thing about feeding from X is that you're going to make the goalie rotate his head. So definitely looks like that's going to be Westminster's bread and butter so far. So Manchester Valley's really got to problem solve that if they're going to want to stop this surge.
Ball still down. No one's got this face-off yet, and the Owls get it. So I think I've got them 4 of the first 5 so far. So good job. But again, ball on the ground. Right after I say they win the face-off, it's a turnover. Scrum for it. Midfield, let's see. Gonna be Man Valley's ball. Cross check. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a penalty. So Mavs are gonna go man up here, I believe for 1 minute. So an opportunity here for the Mavericks.
For sure. And it's funny with how much, it's only the first quarter. As we can see, again, we're not there, but it seems like the field's playing really slow, and because of that, the ball is going to sit in spots for a lot longer than one might think. So it's going to be interesting to see how that, especially middle of the field, right, crease areas, this game might be turned around by how long a ground ball stays. Nice save there by Wes Zengraff,
sure
goalie for Westminster. That was big. A 3-2 game's a lot different than a 3-1 game.
And that was a good shot by Reed to go low, and Zengraff blocked the hole, so good job. And now Owls are down a player, but they have the ball. There's a pass over the top.
That ball's going to stay.
I think it will. It did not. Just trickled out, I believe. So I thought it was too. Thought that moisture in the grass was going to help Westminster, but it did not. So the Owls turn it over. And here come the Mavericks. Owen Hackler, freshman midfielder there, number 20.
Sport in Westminster properly communicates. Again, it can be kind of funky to, go from end to end, but still kind of come back and remember that, hey, you're still man down off that cross-check call.
Nice pass inside, quick shot, and a goal. Give that one to Connor Feek.
Gavin Reed with a great look-off pass there from the lefty wing.
Yep, give Reed the assist. Give Feek the goal. And it's a 3-2 game. Took a shot there as you were going to when you were around that crease. Travis Mann from Westminster making sure his presence was felt, but Feek still scored, and it's a 3-2 game. Halfway home in this opening quarter. Stinnett tried to ward off his defender. Nope, it's going to be the Mavericks who get this face off.
Great wing play there for Manchester Valley. It's important to really make that face off a 3-on-3 rather than just a 1-on-1. So far, Westminster started hot, as you were saying, 4 of the first 5, but that was really the first win for Manchester Valley, because the only other time they had was off the violation.
That's true, yeah. First true win, you're right, of the first 6 face-offs. But the Mavericks could tie it here with a goal. Nice pass inside, looking for Feek. Ball down, but Gavin Reed gathers up the loose ball in the far corner, and back up top we go. This is Matthew Ferran. We mentioned him. Passes it off.
Nice
Owen Miller,
there.
Nice shot by Miller. A little bit off the side there. Mavericks will back it up. Trying to make a move as Braden Fritz. Football standout in the fall. Now playing some lacrosse in the spring, as a lot of guys on this field do both. And a slip there by Miller. We mentioned the field. And a turnover, and that's Wyatt McNamara, 27, who will get that ground ball. And here comes Nick Comfer, and here comes Westminster on the charge.
So far, Pat, Westminster's really going to want to, get Comfer the ball in the middle of the field. Definitely a kid with a lot of confidence when he does have it and able to get it into his stick, and that's going to help tremendously. Just kind of move from end to end. That it can't be. Nice save there.
Sure was. A nice little spin shot, but save made by Gabe Howard.
Zep probably wants that shot back. I feel like he kind of gave up a good shot for an even cooler shot, and that's not always easy to do. Sometimes it looks cool, but I think he wants that one back.
It still looked kind of cool, but it looks cool.
For sure.
Looks cool when the ball goes in.
Yeah.
Here's a turnover near midfield. See if the Owls can take advantage. And there's Zep. And he gets it back out to the top. They'll set up the offense. Under 4 to go here in the opening quarter. Westminster 3, Man Valley 2, CMSportsNet game of the week.
Westminster so far is really showing that drop back ride they've done for the last couple of years. Getting guys like Hitchcock and Zepp back to the midline and really trying to we're going to kind of play a fence line here, split 2, So in that case, Manchester Valley really wants to be able to get the ball over that without drawing too many defenders, because I think if they're consistently running through traffic, I don't think that bodes well for them in the long term, especially as this field isn't really designed for speed.
Oh, nice job there by Man Valley to create that shot. Just a little bit off.
Gavin Reed with a strong backup in the corner. So far, Manchester Valley's gone low to low a couple times, but hasn't really boded well for them. I think they should go to more shots that are just high to high or changing planes in some regard, because they've missed some good looks that I think they could definitely want back.
Yeah, that was a whistle before that shot, and it's going the other way. Using some speed there, Cam Webb. And Webb tried to get it to Arnsmeyer.
Really an unforced error throwing that ball in the corner. Looks like it actually might have been ruled a shot, which is to Westminster's benefit here.
Yeah, we hear some of the fans kind of voicing their opinions about it as well. Nonetheless, Owls have it. Hitchcock behind the net for the Owls.
Back to where Westminster's consistently wanted to attack from. Manchester Valley, I think, might need to kind of pack it in a little bit more, because I think for the depth of shot, Westminster's been able to get in closer than Manchester Valley probably wants from that consistent, feeding from X position. So similar to the kind of game plan we saw from Liberty. Here we go, Arnsmeyer in the back pipe. Good late check there, though, with Manchester Valley defense.
Yep. Might have been Dylan Upman, number 28. Minute and a half left. Ooh, low pass and a turnover. And this is Upman.
Nice ground ball there by Upman. Again, just kind of an unforced error by Westminster. Really the only thing to blame was the weather, as we see Manchester Valley do something similar.
Yep. Both these teams are still trying to find their footing here.
You're not really throwing the same arc when your stick is wet and the ball is wet, and mesh is stretching in ways that you don't usually expect.
Final minute of the opening quarter. Owls with the 1-goal lead, looking for more here as they try to draw up some play. This guy tried the jump shot there from the side. Good hustle on the far side. Who was that? That was Owen Hackler with a dive, trying to be there first, but Westminster has it. Still under 30 seconds now to go.
Zepp with an invert now, taking his short stick defender behind.
Tried to pass over top to Arnsmeyer, lost his stick, ball on the ground. 10 seconds, let's see if Man Valley can make a charge, and I don't think that, let's see. Yeah, out of bounds on the Mavericks. So final 10 seconds here when the Owls bring it back in. And that's kind of been the story of this first quarter, Grady. A couple of moments of both teams just having a few unforced errors, a little bit extra juice maybe here in the opening quarter. They try to settle things down. There's a long shot from the top. And the clock runs out in the first quarter. Owls on top by 1. 3-2 is your score here. Game of the week, end of the first quarter. And the Owls scored quickly the first 2 there. And then I think Man Valley settled in after that. I feel like both teams played a little more evenly matched in the next, 9 minutes there. So.
Yeah, much more even kind of after that initial onslaught. I think Manchester Valley looks at a 3-2 game and says, you know what, we didn't play anywhere close to what we wanted to. So for a 1-goal game, we feel good about that. Westminster, I really like how aggressively they came out. They knew what they wanted to do. They knew where they wanted to go. They handled pressure well. I think for them, it's, hey, are we going for flare points, or are we just going to get this job done? Because I think they passed up a couple of really good looks to try to add some added difficulty, and that might be the difference between 5-2, 5-1, or 3-2.
3-2, yeah. And if you're Man Valley, I mean, I feel like you said, you like where you are. Yep, obviously, you want to be on top, but you got a long way to go, and you didn't let that opening, salvo from Westminster, punch you in the gut too hard. You got back off the deck, which is good.
Yeah.
Which I'm not surprised with Coach Piper and
for sure,
the staff.
For sure. And I think if this game was sunny in 75, this might be 7-7 at this point. So it's going to be interesting because that first quarter is probably the nicest the field's going to feel.
Good point.
Good point. These sticks aren't going to get drier.
Yeah. That's
so
true.
As footing kind of gets slippery, and in my time as a coach, it was always interesting to see where footing disintegrated. So it might just be on like a defensive closeout. It might be like, hey, you're wide open, but your foot slips or your goalie slips. So that's going to be a real big factor as we go through these next 3 quarters.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, the first quarter is probably your prime quarter in terms of field conditions. It's not raining. At least doesn't appear to be. That's a good sign.
Yep,
it's not
for sure.
It's a dry-ish conditions, but the field obviously has taken on some water in the last couple of days. It hasn't been the warmest. So, you're going to see things deteriorate a little bit as we go. But as we talk even before our broadcast, Man Valley's field always in pretty good shape.
Yep.
So, shout out to Liz Padgett and her staff up there at Man Valley for getting the field ready and moving the game up. Throws a wrench in our works a little bit, but I understand why, trying to get the game in. So, all right, face-off to begin, quarter number 2.
Another solid win from Westminster.
Yeah,
Ronan Keys.
Ronan Keys, I was going to say they changed up guys there, and that's Ronan Keys with the face-off win. But once again, ball on the ground, so Owls get to keep it this time, but there have been a few of these face-offs won where immediately Man Valley had the ball back. So I won't necessarily say it's sloppy play, but it's a little bit disjointed in the first quarter plus, I would think. There's a kind of a fun fact there. 5 county titles for Westminster over the last 10 seasons. They're trying to make it another one. And just as I say that, ball on the ground again. This is the stuff that makes you pull your hair out when you're a coach, right?
For sure.
It's not playing crisp.
For sure. And, and it needs to be said, Pat, like Westminster, the expectation is to win the county. And
more.
Yeah, for sure.
You're right.
And even in recent history, they've had some really, really solid teams, and as things have changed for them, the standards don't. So this is a team that has they're young at certain parts, and by that meaning starting some juniors. But these Owls have really played a lot of solid lacrosse, and they carry a lot of expectations with them.
Last year they went 5-1, obviously a great record. The only thing is for them, the one loss was to Century, and Century also had the same record, but the head-to-head beating Westminster gave the Knights the county title. And so you look at a 5-1 record, it's a great year, it just wasn't good enough to win the county, and that sticks in their craw for a little while.
For sure.
As they go on. So there's a shot there from the top of the box out of bounds, but Jack Hitchcock backs it up for Westminster, and onward we play. This is their first possession, a little bit longer than the first possession of the first quarter. Jacob Spiegel on the far side there, number 2, junior midfielder, and the ball gets away from Cam Webb and out of bounds.
Tough break there for Westminster. Offensively, though, you're seeing them with a lot of kind of invert actions, dodging from X against short sticks. They'll do kind of a follow look where they'll pop a guy off from the crease back to X, so they'll always have somebody at X and then have another cutter. So it's kind of a similar look that what we saw when Liberty played South Carroll. Really good systematic offense in terms of getting a similar look every time, keeping your reads consistently, but also being able to have a lot of different guys back at X attacking their defenders.
Now they kept the ball after that whistle, so might have been something that happened off ball. There's a high shot from the top. Out of bounds, missed the cage.
Hitchcock with a backup.
Yep, back there, like you said, in the X position. He's got 11, Barrett Tozer over here to our near side, freshman. There he is right there with the ball, number 11. So Coach Mike Fleming mixes up his lineup a little bit too and brings in some underclassmen, as does Coach John Piper at Man Valley. And again, ball gets away from Cam Webb, but Webb backs it up. One of the seniors out there, number 23. There's a low shot. That might have hit the side of the net.
A little snap look for Arnsmeyer there. Again, really both teams on this end of the field, I think, have taken some shots they might want back. So it's going to be interesting to see, Pat, like how those shots fall as we go. Who's making adjustments? Good take there from up top. I think, ironically, that's one of the better shots I've seen today.
From right up top, yeah. And Zepp will back that up. So they moved Hitchcock out of that X spot and put Zepp there. This is Hitchcock in the foreground. And now Westminster again. So they rotate some guys around a little bit. Arnsmeyer at the top now. And Hitchcock will direct traffic. 3 minutes gone by in the second quarter.
Much less rampant pace early on in this second quarter compared to the first quarter. So, as we were talking off air, defense have definitely kind of buttoned up a little bit more. Some slow rolls, some pipes hit. Nice save there by Manchester Valley's goalie.
Absolutely, Gabe Howard. He went in his jersey. I believe we had one of those in our Liberty South Carroll game. A nice save and a good ball movement there by Westminster. So a good possession, but the Mavs hold them out of the net.
Manchester Valley here, I think, really is wanting to kind of settle the ball in, kind of go time for time against Westminster. Westminster had a really solid possession there, and Manchester Valley, I think, would be wise to, not try to rush anything, make sure they get something quality, and then go from there. Because you don't want diminishing returns from your defense in a game with lousy footing. Ryan Clark will dodge from X.
Ryan Clark, number 1 for Man Valley.
Over to Connor Feek and then back up top.
Junior attack is Clark, and the Mavs now going to play a little more patient here and try to get the good shot to tie this game up. There's Ferran with a shot, bounced one. Back up front, I think Zengraf deflected that one away.
Kind of a force inside, wasn't handled, but Manchester Valley, adeptly got the ground ball from
That's
X.
a tough play, too, right there, right in front of all that traffic. Feek. Feek
nice
takes a shot. Zengraf makes the save.
That was a really quality save for Zengraf. Good on him. They changed planes. They got the step down they wanted for Manchester Valley, so for him to see the ball the whole way, good for him there.
A couple nice saves at either end. One for Howard of Man Valley, one for Zengraft of Westminster. And no goals yet here in this quarter as we hit 7 minutes to go in the second quarter. Oh.
Manchester Valley there.
Open player in the front, never got to him.
Lucky to escape that miscommunication because Westminster had an attackman just right on the doorstep. So
Logan
the fact that ball went on the ground and was kind of picked off is a really big relief for Manchester Valley.
And then moments later, a turnover. So here come the Mavs. Luca Brown spinning his way through some defenders, and now the Mavericks have it in the zone. Nice check. And a turnover. Nice job by Westminster's defense. And here come the Owls. Shot by Arnsmeyer. Whizzed past Howard.
Good take there. I think Manchester Valley's playing a little bit too frantic than what they'd like, knowing Coach Piper. I think he's probably telling them that they need to kind of slow things down. A 3-2 game is not a 13-2 game.
Absolutely.
So they're kind of playing uncharacteristically fast to their detriment. Good check there in the corner.
Yeah, Pariser got it taken away, and here comes Manchester Valley.
Owen Miller. This is what I was saying earlier, Pat, like you don't want to have to consistently run through that fence line because even when you do get through it, looks like a timeout there. Smart call by Manchester Valley. But even when you are getting through it, it's going to take a lot of effort for all your D-mids clearing the ball.
Right.
And it's just going to wear on you, and it's going to create some really unsightly turnovers over the course of the game. So the more that they are able to cross the midline through the air, I think the better. And that it really goes for both teams because that could be a huge determining factor in this game.
No doubt. So a timeout there called, and John Piper, he's in the middle of that huddle there wearing the golf cap. Of course, it's Masters Week this week, so maybe he's doing that to pay a little homage to the golf. But there he is back there in the blue hat, and done a good job at Manchester Valley as John Piper. Again, maybe not the team you think of right away when you think about Carroll County Boys Lacrosse, but they have made themselves a contender and done a good job. There you go. There's a in-game player matchup, Arnsmeyer and Gavin Reed. We mentioned Gavin Reed as one of the top returners. He was the top returner in the county, and it's good to have a weapon like that back if you coach Piper.
For sure, and it's I think it's fun to see a kid like Reed kind of diversify his skill set over time. He was kind of playing more of an auxiliary role with Grant Miller last year.
Yes.
So now that he's in a little bit more of a ball dominant role, he's feeding the ball more. It's cool to see how a kid progresses from his junior year to senior year.
Yeah, Man Valley had JT Calhoun and Miller together for a while, and then Gavin Reed sort of came up behind those guys. And like you said, you nailed it. I mean, those guys graduated the last couple of years. Oh, who's going to take over? Oh, they lost their top scorers. They're not going to be as good this year.
For sure.
Well, they're 5-0 so far, and they've passed every test, and they have a couple quality wins already. And again, this will be a tremendous win for whoever wins this game, but obviously certainly for Man Valley. I'll call them the upstart. I mean, they got to the state quarterfinals last year in 2A, but as far as the county goes, they're looking for their first one. So every one of these games is huge.
Which is really surprising when you think of how many really tough Manchester Valley teams they've had. But it also speaks to just how good Westminster's been over the last 10 years. And that's nothing to take away from, Jeremy Benson's Century team. He's won 3 of the last 4.
Yes, he has.
Probably a lot quieter than people realize.
Yes.
Too.
And one of those teams got to a state final several years back,
yes.
but they did get to a state final. So that was turnover there for Westminster. It looked like Matthew Ferran either had some trouble with his face mask or the ball and the stick got up there, but the ball came out of his stick, and now the Owls have it back. 5 minutes left in the second quarter.
The way the first 3 minutes of the first quarter went, for us to be sitting at a scoreless second quarter is pretty surprising, but it also shows the strength of both coaching staffs, making some adjustments. I don't think shot selection has been perfect for either team.
Ooh. Passed up one low shot, took another one. That was Cam Webb. Probably the right idea to fake and go around, just a shot a little bit offline, but the Owls back it up.
Westminster again running that kind of double cut look.
There's Webb coming off a screen.
Nice tip there.
It was. And now the ball's on the ground.
Dylan Upman, so far, Pat, has made some really key plays that say, okay, this could have been much different for Manchester Valley.
Now I think they're going to actually call him right after that for a push in the back. So the Owls will keep it. Upman didn't like the call, but he has to give the ball back over to Arnsmeyer. But yes, I agree. We've mentioned Dylan Upman's name already a few times. And ball down again. There's Upman.
That was a really, for high school lacrosse, that's one of the cleaner takeaway checks you'll see.
Unfortunate bounce for the Mavericks went back to Westminster.
Bit of hero ball there for Westminster.
Yep, that was Spiegel trying to get through 3 different guys. And there's Ferran, and up come the Mavs. Yeah, you probably want that one back if you're Westminster. Getting a little more physical here in the last minute or so. There's a shot and a save by Zengraft.
Penalty thrown, excuse me.
Okay.
So it looks like Manchester Valley will be playing with house money.
Flag down, yep. They'll take their time, right? Yeah.
For sure. This is going to be an important situation for Manchester Valley. I think it's a good reminder to hey, slow down a little bit. I think Westminster right now is probably playing a little bit too selfish. They've had some takes that are just kind of too complicated for the situation. And then on the flip side, Manchester Valley's just been playing like we have a shot clock. Great goal there by Matthew Ferran.
Didn't need the penalty.
We highlighted him in the pregame for a reason, and it takes like that.
That was a nice take by Ferran. That ties the game.
Ladies and gentlemen, this time with all North Carroll Lacrosse.
So 3-3 is our score. Here you see a replay. Ferran just decided that he had an opening. Tough goal, tough shot to defend there, and tough one not to save rather. And Tyler Wareheim did his best on defense, but Ferran found some daylight, and that's all you need.
And Westminster, I think, looking, or I should say Manchester Valley there did a really good job moving off ball. I think Westminster could have, sucked in a little bit sooner to be able to like make the ball kind of swing around the perimeter, but Fran knew what he wanted to take, and that was a great look for him to tie the game.
Matthew Ferran, the quarterback back in the fall for Man Valley, now a senior midfielder for the boys lacrosse team, and his goal with 3:11 to go in the second quarter ties our score 3-3. And facing off again here will be Phillips for Man Valley, and I didn't see whether it was another new player for Westminster. That's Armsmeyer, and so Man Valley
good ground ball by Fritz there.
Face off rather. Fritz, Braden Fritz getting in there and helping his team head the ball, and now the Mavericks can try to take the lead.
It's a really important ground ball. Again, we feel like we've said enough, but we really haven't. This field's going to be slow. It's mucky. It's gross. So that ball is going to. Oh, great take there. Gavin Reed.
Was it Reed? I turned away for 1 second. We got another goal.
He knows the takes that he wants to take. So great move right there. A little bit of an unsettled situation probably earlier. Westminster was not set up as they should. Defensive miscommunication, and Reed had his hands free and took advantage.
Give Ferran the assist, and there's Gavin Reed.
I was saying earlier, Pat, though, like this field's really slow, so both teams are, going to be talking about it at halftime. It's like ground balls, you're going to have to really go down to your fourth grade fundamentals, get your front hand down, get your butt down, and really spend the time on it, because if you don't, you're actually going to spend more time on it, just kind of re-scooping it and re-scooping it and re-scooping it.
We get a good shot there from our cameras on the stuff we're talking about. That middle of the field is going to get a little chewed up the more this game goes on. There's a face-off won by Westminster.
Keys with another win, but a tough entry pass into the zone.
And let's see, was that a timeout for the Owls? It might have been.
Looks like it.
Yeah, maybe wise, again, just like Coach John Piper did. This is Mike Fleming for Westminster saying, let's slow things down and draw something up here that we know is going to work. 2:28 to go. Man Valley has scored the last two after no goals through much of the second quarter. Now the Mavericks have the 4-3 lead, and it's back and forth now. We kind of expected a little bit of a defensive game. You said that, Westminster may have to outscore, 10-9 or whatever it might be, something like that. And now you're looking at a quite different ball game, a little more defensive-minded. But there's going to be some more goals here as the offenses get going here. That second quarter, a bit of an anomaly there.
I think so far, 3-2, goals are fairly close. Assists are fairly close. Yep. Saves are dead even. Face-offs is the biggest disparity, but I think the stat it's kind of most telling are kind of unforced errors.
Right.
That's been kind of why this game's looked the way it has. And I think if whatever team in the second half kind of limits the unforced errors is going to take this thing, because Westminster, I think, played too selfishly so far. They've tried to make you so, hey, the footing's not great, throwing and catching aren't great. Let's kind of do more individually. And Manchester Valley on the flip side is just kind of playing too fast. So settle down. This is still 6-on-6 lacrosse is going to be the team to make it.
So coming out of the timeout, let's see what Westminster does.
More invert looks again. Going after short stick D midi behind X. Manchester Valley, defensively, they're going to want to slide quickly.
I think Howard might have got a piece of that. I'm going to say he did.
Crease violation on Westminster. That's a tough part. A guy cutting into the crease can kind of get lost of where the crease line is. Tough pass there over the midline.
There's a battle for it in midfield.
Gavin Reed.
Still going for it. And out of bounds. Let's see what the call is. That was a tough,
Tough break for Manchester Valley.
Yep, and now the Owls will bring it in. Minute and a half left in the first half. Ooh, ball get away from
Barrett Tozer.
Tozer momentarily, but Tozer gathers himself and Would you be surprised, Grady, if they hold for the last, I won't say the last, but if they hold for a little while here and try to get a good one, or is that not Westminster's game?
Well, I think there's kind of two ways to play it. You can hold, doesn't look like they were going to hold.
They were not.
With that take.
Made a liar out of me. Nick Durr took the shot and it bounced off the pipe. But yeah, I think I just answered my own question. Look at this. Defensive chance, but a save for Zengraft.
Nice take again by number 19, Gannon Hackler. Again, unforced errors in the middle of the field are going to be tough, but really, Manchester Valley at this point should have 2 pole goals. And as I've said in other broadcasts, Pat, not all goals are created equal. Some goals are going to give you a goal and also more belief than you previously had. In a game like this, that's really important.
Indeed. Let's see, did the Mavericks call another their second timeout? I think they did right before that loose ball. So 32.5 seconds left in the second quarter, and that scrum there afterward was just trying to see who could come up with the possession. It was the Mavericks, and Coach John Piper uses his second timeout. Each team gets 2, correct, in the half?
Each team gets 2, and I think the biggest markers of a well-seasoned coach are just when to call a timeout. Your adjustments might not be that much different year after year, but hey, let me use this timeout because I don't get to keep him.
Some good goalie play. We're seeing some of the highlights here from the first half, and these goalies have kept their teams in the game for sure. Both teams have gotten some solid scoring chances.
Solid shots. I think shot selection too hasn't been perfect, and with that, both goalies have played well in the shots that have been taken, because there's a lot of variables to this. I think Manchester Valley, in their transition looks, I think they've been a little bit predictable in their defense, in their shot selection, and at the same time, Westminster's been a little too complicated.
We saw Coach Fleming there in the huddle with Westminster talking to the Owls, and Coach John Piper is in there doing the same. Both of these coaches have been doing this for a while. Coach Fleming on his third program at Liberty, and then did some Gerstel coaching as well.
Right,
and,
right.
Of course, Coach Piper, North Carroll before Man Valley, and he's done a good job here with the Mavericks. Again, just it goes me sometimes kind of goes under the radar that he's kept them. I won't use the word relevant, but he's kept them in the conversation in terms of being competitive in Carroll County. And that's hard to do with the Westminsters, and those South Carroll had their run, and Liberty, and of course Century. Man Valley has not been in that mix, and now they are. It's kind of fun to have, like you mentioned, such a parity and good competition across the league.
Yeah, and Coach Piper really does so much just for our region. Running all that he does with Free State, running all the MPSSA, all the county meeting stuff. In my time, I was always thankful for all that Coach Piper did.
One more save in this half for Zengraft in the final seconds, and that's going to be how that second quarter comes to an end.
Zengraft has impressed me. I think he's coming through in a real confident manner, and that's going to help in a 4-3 game, because without a couple of his real confidence building saves, I think this could have looked different. But he's been, really stout in cage so far.
No doubt. There's your halftime, and we reached halftime. Your halftime score, there it is. Man Valley 4, Westminster 3. Like Grady Breen just said, we're here at the halftime break of the game of the week. Before we take a break, Coach, just another quick thought or two about what impressed you in the first half.
I think that second quarter, teams kind of had finished kind of feeling each other out. As I was saying earlier, it's really going to come down to who is making that next adjustment, who is limiting those unforced errors, who is throwing the long pass, but maybe not as long as they were in the first half just because of conditions, who's not trying to run through too many people, and who's choosing better shots.
Yep. All right, everybody, sit tight. We've got to take a quick break here and hear from our sponsors, but don't go away. We've got some more coverage for you at halftime, and we'll get set for the second half on the CMSportsNet Game of the Week coming right back. Every Wednesday at CMSportsNet, it's Game On. Tune in for a look at Carroll County sports scene. Join me as we preview upcoming games, talk with the coaches, and bring you exclusive reports you won't see anywhere else. Plus, each week we'll unveil CMSportsNet's Athlete of the Week. Don't miss CMSportsNet's Game On, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. We've got you covered.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg for lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss The Score and More podcast, presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels.
Everyone to the CM Sportsnet Game of the Week. Pat Stetzer and Grady Breen join you from the CM Sportsnet studios here at the Community Media Center, and your halftime score, Man Valley 4, Westminster 3. Coach, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from the first half, and we've talked about it already. Evenly played game, not the crispest maybe in some moments, but a good county boys lacrosse game so far.
For sure, for sure. I think it also shows just how tight county games can be, no matter who's playing, no matter what records are.
And as we watch these highlights, we talked right after we hit the break, and jokingly, but not, only half kidding, the goalie play was not something maybe we thought we'd be talking too much about in the first half yet. Wes Zengraft of Westminster and Gabe Howard of Man Valley are a big reason why this game is so close.
We highlighted offense. We talked about offense. We said, who's going to outscore each other? And the goalie said, I'm going to be the focus.
And we have seen some offense, and Westminster scored quick in that opening quarter. There's a goal there from Chase Sepp. And when the Owls scored, they did it quickly. Man Valley did not let that early 2-0 hole get to them, and they came right back and made it quite a game. And, again, we're seeing some good plays here. We saw some of the highlight reel earlier from the goalies, and it's a big reason why this is a low-scoring first half, but also good defense. You mentioned Dylan Upman from Man Valley. We've heard Wyatt McNamara's name a little bit from Westminster, and Nick Comfort sort of patrolling that defensive midfield as well. But who will be the next person to sort of shine is going to go a long way toward seeing who wins
For sure.
this game.
I was really impressed with that first couple of minutes for Westminster. I was really impressed with that second quarter by Manchester Valley. So, looking at, to use the coaching term, the middle eight, right? Like, Manchester Valley did a really good job in that last four going into halftime. Now, what's the next four going to look like?
Right.
Who's going to play well off the wing? I think Manchester Valley did a lot better on face-offs once they got wings involved. It just, can they tie Westminster up long enough to get it to a 3-on-3 battle rather than a 1-on-1?
Look how even it is. We talked about that before the break. The only thing that's really swung in Westminster's favor right now is the face-offs. Man Valley leading by a goal. Both had 3 assists, and the goalie play has been great so far as well. So we're off to a good start in terms of, like you mentioned, who is going to be leading the way here in the second half. There's Gavin Reed had 2 goals and 1 assist in the first half. Liam Armsmeyer has done a good job trying to pass the ball around a little bit. He actually has a goal. We're used to him seeing maybe dish the ball more than shoot the ball, but certainly he can shoot and score, and he's got one of Westminster's 3 so far. So, have the goalies impressed you the most so far in the first half, or is it just a matter of we'll see what happens here in the second half?
I think so. We've said it enough times, but the game hasn't been perfectly crisp, but goalie play has impressed me in terms of like settling some things down. And there's been a couple looks where you're like, okay, this thing could break up especially in a slower game, right? So the way both goalies are playing to kind of settle things down, like, oh no, now things are going to reset. It has been good so far.
Now it's time to take a look at the latest CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week, and actually we stay right in Manchester Valley. Time to check in with the boys lacrosse star that has the Mavericks flying high and thinking about what could lie ahead. This game's a big one too. We're thinking about what could lie ahead this spring. Let's find out who it is.
Latest CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week, Gavin Reed, Manchester Valley boys lacrosse. 2 big wins last week, Gavin. 6 goals in the game against Liberty. Just tell me about those games first and how you guys were able to sort of get on top of Middletown the way you did, and obviously really get on top of Liberty and get a big win.
Yeah, we saw the Liberty game for South Carroll, and we saw it was close. And we thought Liberty was going to be like a tough game. So we went in the week before, practiced hard, and I started off hot. I had the first goal, and then we just kept going. We just kept scoring 16-4 or something.
Yeah, 16-4, right? Yep. I mean, when you start that first goal and it's contagious, guys have always told me one guy gets it, then everybody else wants to follow suit. But can you feel it on the field? Like you mentioned, like Liberty, look, it's a county game. They're a tough team. You're going to be prepared. All the county teams are tough. When you start the flow of that game and you get on top like that, what's that feeling like when you guys are clicking on all cylinders like that? Liberty
went to the state championship last year.
Yeah.
So they obviously had a lot of talent, and they probably brought it over this year. And when we get that one goal, I don't know, I want assists to a lot of other goals, just keep it up. So when you get one, you want more.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
That's how I wanted.
You guys bring back some talent from last year's team too. How's this first month or so gone for this team? You guys are undefeated right now, the big week coming up this week, but what's the strength of this team? What's the chemistry like right now with these guys?
We knew our defense was gonna stay the same, and we lost Grant Miller and Reed, our main guys last year, but we knew we were gonna be really good, and we had we have a lot of adversity around here, and we had like a bunch of juniors last year, so this year we're gonna have a lot of seniors, and I don't know, the beginning of scrimmage.
Gavin Reed, the CMSportsNet Athlete of the Week, and the third quarter is underway, and Westminster wins the first faceoff.
Ronan Keys with that initial clamp and win. Tough entry again.
And then some contact there on the sideline. Looks like the Owls will keep the ball.
Loose ball pushing the corner.
So just like they did to start the game, the Owls have the opening possession of the second half. And if they score, it will tie the game at 4. We'll see here as the third quarter is just underway here. CMSportsNet Game of the Week from Manchester Valley High School. There's a shot from Webb. Didn't quite get a lot of mustard on that one, but there was also a defender pretty close to him, locked on, and there you see Jack Hitchcock with his hair flowing out of the top of his helmet there.
Always a good look.
Yeah, the lettuce, right? Gotta have the good flow if you're a boys lacrosse player. It's something I wouldn't know much about last I don't know, 20 years. The good old days. And that ball is out of bounds, and that's another one. Cam Webb's had a little bit of trouble just getting that pass, at least tonight, locked down. So,
yeah, a couple of kind of risk or reward type throws there. We'd probably have that conversation differently if he'd landed one or two, but so far, something that might need to adjust for Westminster. Again, tough situation clearing. Westminster really wants to let the poles handle and then jump all the shorties.
You heard a fans imploring them to get into the box, and he just missed it again. That's the second one of those, Grady. Can't have too many more of those the rest of this game.
In a game like this, and Westminster historically, that's been their bread and butter. They're going to want to say, hey, let the poles handle the ball. They're not the ones who practice all offseason handling the ball, typically. But then as soon as that, short stick crosses their face, put a heavy amount of pressure, jump the punt return, if you will, really vice it and go from there.
Yep.
So that's going to be something to look at as we go forward.
You're mixing your coaching metaphors. I know you coach football as well. Another bouncing shot that sort of didn't quite have a lot of oomph to it. And now, loose ball in the midfield. Who wants it? McNamara tried to pick it up, and the Mavericks will.
Nice.
There's Gavin Reed.
Pick up by Gavin Reed.
Pole shot, save. West.
Again.
Zendraft.
Zengraft, he's been really reading the ball well. There you saw, him know that shot's going low even really before it was released, and that's something to be seen.
Got it for 6 saves now, unofficially, so a good half plus here for Wes Zengraft. Came into the game with a better than 55% save percentage, so having a good season is Wes, and he's a senior. And Coach Fleming said before the season started that goalie was not a question mark, but still unknown, I guess, in terms of who would be the top guy. And right now it's Wes Zengraft riding the hot hand for the Owls. There's a shot by Gavin Reed, just a little wide left.
Good take there by Reed. They seem to want to go that cut and fill little look there. They had I think a goal off of it earlier, so good goal there too. Oh, Gavin Reed.
Reed is trying for that backhanded shot because he was running away from the goal, and that time the Owls backed it up. So risky shot, risky chance there, but maybe one that Reed thought he had to try to pull off. Didn't work out, and now Westminster will try to bring it up, and they will. That's Trey Fleming there, number 12.
Tyler Wareheim
helps with the clear. And the Owls into the offensive zone. Looks like the rain is holding off, which is a good thing. The field looks to be in pretty good shape, but again, we've seen a few slippages here and there.
Hitchcock behind GLE with the ball once again.
We've seen Arnsmeyer back there as well, but for the most part today, it's been Jack Hitchcock, number 3, and he's guarded closely by Connor Stack, a couple of football players doing their thing. There's a slip we just mentioned, and now the ball's on the ground. Picked up by Noah Pasley.
Nice job, getting the ball off the ground in traffic. That's really where it gets most hectic for Paisley to get the ball at, 1-on-3 and still come away with it. It's really impressive.
In that last 30 seconds, Grady, we saw 3 or 4 guys slipping. So it definitely is something to keep an eye on here in the second half. And rather than that's going to be maybe a loose ball push there on the Mavericks, so Westminster gets it back. There was a shot there on the far side, but I think that was when the penalty was called. So the Owls will hold it. And this is Barrett Tozer. We've mentioned his name a little bit, number 11, carrying the ball back to the X position. And Tozer trying to use that footwork. Low pass. That's Nick Durr, number 7, who got it back, and there's Arnsmeyer back in that spot we talked about a minute ago. So no goals yet. 5 minutes in. Offense has now become a premium here in the second and third quarters.
Yeah, I applaud Westminster. They've been really consistent with how they want to attack this Manchester Valley team. I think Manchester Valley's made some good adjustment, but great take there.
That was a great take. Zepp with the assist. Is that Tozer?
It is Barrett Tozer. That was impressive for that young man.
Westminster goal number 11, Barrett Tozer, assisted by number 10, Chase Zepp.
Yep, give Zepp the assist, and we're tied up 4-4.
Really good job making that defense spin.
Left-handed shot, too.
For sure. Changing planes.
He's fired up. First goal of the third quarter goes Westminster's way. They're really excited about that goal, and they should be. They've drawn even now at 4-4.
Pat, in pregame, we expected this to be a shootout, and, maybe double digits by the end of the third. And now all of a sudden we could be really,
first to 8,
first to 8, 7-6 type situation.
That's the trend right now. It looked like a start on, or a violation on Westminster.
Luca Brown picking up and bringing it in.
So 7-4 now, face-offs in favor of the Owls, as this third quarter has almost hit its halfway point. Yeah, and the goals come in bunches, of course. We saw South Carroll come back in that game and score a bunch late, where you had said it's going to be an interesting, final 2.5 minutes, and South Carroll did all they could to tie that game up. So they can score in bunches, but the flow of this game right now is definitely defense-minded. And the credit goes to both sides for limiting the other's offense.
For sure.
We knew what Man Valley was going to do with this, less than 5 goals a game, so they're right on average right now. The Owls giving up close to 9.5, maybe even almost 10. So Malachi Grosh right there for Man Valley, struggled to pick up that ground ball, but still did. So give the junior the ground ball. Hold possession. There's a shot and a save.
Oh, good take there by Brown. I like that little redodge move he had to get underneath his defender. Again, great save by Zengraft.
He's up to 7 now, and it was a nice shot by Brown. Here come the Owls. Zepp gave it up. Arnsmeyer and Howard intercepted it. Nice job by Gabe Howard. So maybe not a save, but a nice play by the goalie.
Great job getting the ball the other way.
Here come the Mavericks.
Just a little bit too far for Feek.
Yep. Feek tried to pick it up, and now we're going end to end here. Let's see who's got more wheels.
Oh, great goal there.
Westminster goal.
To go back and forth like that. Really good example, Pat, of what I was saying earlier about some goals are more than a goal, right? Some goal is goal plus belief, and to go back and forth to weather the storm like that, especially a defensive pole goal, it's 5-4, but Westminster's probably feeling pretty good right now.
So that goal goes to Chase Fisher, number 19, not on our roster, but I did hear the name, so give Chase Fisher the goal. Always fun to see a defender getting involved on offense. Yeah, looks like we're trading out the lacrosse ball. 5-4 Owls lead. And still waiting on play to resume. We've got Phillips for Man Valley and Stinnett at the face-off X. And what are we waiting on here? Maybe a game ball? Or equipment or something. Well, Stinnett's coming out, so in comes Ronan Keys. You mentioned his name already, Coach, and he'll assume the face-off duties here. Going to get this one. It is Westminster.
You are missing one great game, ref.
Tough situation, Pat. Looked like there was a penalty that we didn't hear announced of Manchester Valley with a wing guy in the box with 6-on-5 and then off the ground ball coming into the zone. The refs threw another penalty. So this could be a 6-on-4. You know, I don't want to speak anything into existence, but we very well could see a possession here in the third quarter that shifts a lot of momentum.
It's up to Westminster to see if they can do it. But yeah, that's a big deal. And you can count them up. I think you're right. And just like that,
Jacob Spiegel.
Spiegel gets his first goal.
To the top right.
Westminster goal number 2, Jacob Spiegel. Assist from number 22, Liam Arnsmeyer.
Give Arnsmeyer the assist. And 6-4 now is your score. The Owls coming out hot. And you get handed that opportunity, you have to take advantage of it, right? And they did, so, or at least they did so far.
Back even again for both teams.
Yeah, that wipes out the penalty, correct? It wasn't unreleasable. And the Owls with another face-off. Yep. Give them 9. Give the team 9.
Impressed with Keys so far, Pat. He's been kind of the cleanest on the draw. He's done a really good job getting the clamp and getting out of the situation. Some of the entry passes haven't been perfect, but that was a really good move by him, and it's tough to face a kid who's just increasingly quick on the draw.
Something that makes a coach happy. 6 goals, 5 assists. You like to see that?
Yes, for sure. In conditions that don't bode well for passing, to have such a high rate of assists, it is going to make any coach smile.
There's a turnover, though, and I believe that might have been Upman again for Man Valley, at least getting his stick on it. And here comes a defensive rush at Simon Calhoun. Oh, and a big save by Zengraft. What a save.
Oh, here we go.
Right back. Oh, and that time they get one.
Hustle play.
Absolutely.
Great job by Ryan Clark. Again, we've said it a couple times, and Zengraft really been the most impressive Westminster player so far. But for Clark to just hustle, get the ball back, and put it in the back of the net is really impressive.
Zengraft gets it, but then the ball, Clark just picked the ball out of the air. Zengraft couldn't quite get his feet set. Nice job. That's all developed by Ryan Clark.
Definitely something we want to see, in the Masters this weekend, but even more important in a game like this, because it's tough for players to really focus and hey, I gotta be that much more diligent about my fundamentals in a scrum.
We got plenty of time till Grady to put some more master references in this broadcast. So I want to hear about some drivers and some teeing off.
Okay, here we go. Challenge accepted.
I knew you would. And another turnover here. So again, now the momentum kind of swinging back toward Man Valley. The Owls had that 2-man advantage, if I'm not mistaken, scored the goal. Man Valley did not let it phase them too much. So it's a 6-5 game here, and the Mavs can get their offense going again here as they get into the zone. That's Owen Miller there, number 10, sophomore. He plays attack and midfield for Man Valley.
I think it was one of Manchester Valley's best clears, just in terms of not having to run it over directly. But I would really like to see them have more urgency getting the ball to X, because they keep getting caught in no man's land. We've seen them have to turn the ball over a couple times for not getting into the offensive zone quickly enough. So that I would really like to see if they want to win this game.
There's a shot, Gavin Reed.
Great shot by Reed.
His 3rd goal of the night.
He gets the ball out of his stick incredibly quickly. He puts that shot, as you'll see on the replay, he puts that shot near pipe.
Nice pass from Brown, absolutely. Near pipe, top shelf. Zengraft could not turn in time, and that's easy for Gavin Reed. He made it look easy, rather. And we are deadlocked.
I'm going to be honest, Pat. If I'm Westminster and there's a kid who led the county in goals, maybe I don't leave him wide open on the lefty wing.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. Again, really crafty player, but I think Westminster's getting caught a little bit too much ball watching and letting themselves shuffle up field in ways that are detrimental.
I think he started early, and we had a great shot of it right there, and he did. I believe he did. Yep. Owls, the faceoff goes to the Mavs.
Fritz bringing it in.
So now momentum is certainly on Man Valley's side here with 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, and this is a good one. It's fun back and forth here. The sloppiness is actually kind of cut down too here in the second half. A little bit here and there, but definitely more clean here in the second half.
Everyone's more patient.
Tough pass there, right as I say it. Tough pass. Fritz trying to get it to Ryan Clark, and they're going to call that a turnover out of bounds on the far side. So costly there, potentially. Mistake for the home team. Well, still a lot of time, 1:48 to go in the 3rd.
I think something to watch over the next 13 minutes, 44 seconds, Pat, is Westminster, when they have the ball, is always having the ball at X. And the advantage there is when you do have to clear the ball, you're making the other team go as far as possible. Some communication errors in Manchester Valley's defensive zone here.
Indeed.
But I think Manchester Valley on offense, here we go.
It's going to be a slash, I believe, on Hackler, or against Hackler. He's excited for it.
Manchester Valley is a little bit more top-heavy. They're spending a lot more time closer to midfield. And that's not to say that's wrong, but that ball can just be transitioned a lot quicker. So I'd like to see Manchester Valley kind of take a page out of Westminster's playbook and spend some more time below GLE.
Yep. Go low to set up the high shot potential and the wraparound goal chance, which Westminster's thrived
for sure
for most of this game. So the penalty moves the ball back up to close to the offensive zone. 1:22 now, the clock running. 1:20, and Owen Miller will moving in across the line, and now the Mavericks can set up for maybe the last shot, or at least a good shot. And they're a man up right now.
Yeah, important here, Pat, for, get a shot, but also
Don't
get
do
a
that.
good ground ball.
Yeah, that's true.
But important to, if they do get a shot, make sure they're backing up the shot. Hate to see a man-up possession only get one shot out of it.
There's a good one and a goal.
Great feed there. Good handle on the crease. I believe that was Connor Feek.
I think it was.
That skill is not something you see often in this area. To be able to handle, it's a much harder handle because you're taking it and then really rotating your whole body, and your eyes can be in a lot of different places, and a lot of times kids will just turn too quickly and miss that pass.
Feek's got 2 goals now. Reed's got 3, and Ferran's got 3 assists. So some of the players we talked about before the game. And the Owls get that face-off. So the Owls can have a chance here to score before the end of the quarter.
Spiegel with an important ground ball in the middle of it. Impressed with Spiegel, I think he really plays at a good tempo, being able to go kind of fast and slow, but knowing how to kind of speed things up in a good way.
This is Webb, 15 seconds. As Webb comes in on the far side. That was a good pass and a good shot.
Yeah.
It was a little bit offline.
Pat, that's kind of the look that we've seen from him a couple times. It's just that he was able to connect it to Arnsmeyer. Arnsmeyer put a good look on Cage, just wasn't able to put it away.
And that long pass ends the third quarter, and we do have a good one. 3 quarters in the books, 1 to go. Hold tight, everybody. Man Valley has a 1-goal lead over Westminster as the Mavericks try to stay unbeaten on the season, and the Owls are looking to go to 3-0 in county play. There it is, 7-6 is your score after 3 quarters. And goals still, offense still a premium, but I think we're getting the double digits here at some point here. I would think. I'd be surprised if we don't.
Seems like they kind of figured some things out. Both teams have been patient, but knowing that they've only got 12 minutes left, your decision making is going to be a little different. I thought that was a great skip pass by Webb at the end of the quarter.
Yes. So third quarter highlights here as we talk about what we saw. And yeah, you're right. I mean, things got crisper. We saw Barrett Tozer score a goal there. That's a good job by the freshman. And again, still some great goalie play on both sides. Zengrath had a couple nice saves. There was a long pole goal, as the coaches always like, and that's Chase Fisher, who we didn't have on our bingo card, but we got him on there now. You see Fisher scoring that goal for the Owls, and it has not been more than a 2-goal lead, I don't think, for either team through these first 3 quarters. So. We've had our share of leads, or ties rather, and there's a nice job, good passing around as Jacob Spiegel found the net. They make it look easy. When they can get that third pass, the extra pass, they really can do a good job making things look easy. There's your in-game player matchup. Arnsmeyer with his goal and assist, and Gavin Reed broke away with 3 goals through the first 3 quarters. He has 4 points on the day, and Westminster's offense has been balanced, and it's been Wes Zengrath on defense, and he's got some help. We'll see if Man Valley Stars can shine a little bit here in this fourth quarter, and whoever will shine is going to have the best chance to win this game. So back to the face-off X we go. It's Phillips again for Man Valley, and let's see, there's Keys or, can't make the number out, whether it's Keys or Arnsmeyer. Phillips for Man Valley for sure, yeah. I think it's a single digit. It might be Keys here, let's see.
Yep, Keys.
And Keys wins it. So he's done a pretty good job there.
Real quick, nice ground ball play by Keys. Definitely knows his role on this Westminster offense.
Yeah, it didn't start, but came in not too long after that, and they've listed him as a Fogo just like Stinnett is, and so to have 2 Fogos is obviously a good thing, and you can really mix things up for the opposing defense too. Different styles, different ways to get the ball.
Yeah, to have 2 guys really committed to the position it's really worth its weight in gold. Westminster historically has had at least one, so to have 2 guys that you can go to is impressive.
Man Valley's done a good job on Jack Hitchcock. Just the 1 assist so far. No goals yet for the junior.
Zepp setting his man up behind.
Oh, and Zepp did get around his man, and Zepp scored. Zepp made the defender miss, and the junior attacker did the rest. He's got 2 goals now.
The aforementioned slippage.
Yes.
You know, it's a variable in a game like this that it's hard to predict when it's going to happen, and here it's definitely clear.
Braden Fritz was on him, just a little bit of a slip, and Fritz kind of knew it too. You lose a player like Zepp, it's going to be tough to overcome. No one's going to be able to slide in time, and the Owls tie it up 7-7 with 56 seconds in to the 4th quarter. Now it looks like Stinnett is back, so Coach Fleming is changing guys out. Keys and Stinnett have been double dutying here. It's been Ben Phillips for the most part for Man Valley, if I'm not mistaken. And
nice win there.
Oh, didn't quite get it. Still nobody. And nope. Boy, who wants it?
Oh, great
Man Valley
play
gets
there. Pat, that's a great play, great example of a play that's not going to end up in a stat sheet, but for Clark to
hustle,
get the ball out of traffic to an area where he knew Reed was going to be is a really important play at this point in the game.
Mavs patient with the ball here. Early going 4th quarter. There's a shot. Oh, bounced off. I think it bounced off Zengraf's stick.
Aggressive take there. I like it. I think I would like it even more after a bit more movement. You're still kind of feeling yourself out, but to get the goalie moving a bit more, but I can see why they were aggressive. Oh,
Save again by Zengraf.
Similar take. Oh, similar take that they scored on earlier.
Owen Hackler took that shot, right? Number 20 for Man Valley, and Zengraf right there to shut the door. A good look.
Yes, for sure. For sure. And Zengraf knew how he wanted to shut things down. So.
And there's a turnover, and Connor Stack will get it. And Mavericks get it right back. Mavs still passing it around. And let's see. Penalty. And the Owls will come up. Nine minutes to go. 4th quarter. Hitchcock trying to get around the side. He'll pass back up top. Zepp makes one man miss. Save Howard. First time in a while we've mentioned Howard, but that's a nice save. And let's see. Still fighting for it. Flag down. And they might get a penalty on Westminster. Man Valley was cheering for it.
I like that pass coming out of the corner there, Pat. It was important to really get that ball out of the zone as quickly as they could.
So 8:15 to go, tie game. And the Mavericks, I believe, Grady, are a man up now on a penalty. Extra man advantage. These are going to be huge down the stretch.
You know, if you're Manchester Valley, you really want to end this possession with a Gavin Reed shot with the way he's been shooting today, but I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Ferran on that other wing takes it.
Well, they can't hear you, but they certainly did almost what you what you just talked about. So there's Ferran with a shot, sailed everything. A little high, but a good look at the top there. Still got some time left on the man advantage, 7:56 to go and counting.
You know, definitely a strong shot there from Manchester Valley, but I think they dodged a bullet with that backup because I think if Zengraf was a little bit quicker on the uptake, that ball would have been going Westminster the other way, just with getting back up on the end line.
2 shots in this possession here, both by Ferran, both a little bit high, and what last one rather was a little bit wide. The first one was certainly high, and Ferran will give off to Miller. Miller gets into the box. Back over to Ferran right at the top.
Really good patience here from what we've seen earlier. You know, getting into some different looks, not just trying to go with the first thing, which is important in a game like this. Oh, great save again by Zengraf.
Shot by Dan Harmon. Zengraf with the save. Harmon tried to go low, and Zengraf squatted down almost like a hockey goalie and made a nice save there. And here come the Owls.
They didn't score, Pat, but I think Manchester Valley should be pretty satisfied with that possession. They took some time off the clock. They got into a couple different looks, and Zengraf made a great save.
He did. Zepp almost slipped himself, and now the ball's down. Zepp tried to scoot it ahead. He's getting ambushed over there, and they're going to get a push, I've got to imagine. Upman got a little amped up there to try to get the ball.
Yeah.
Upman and company. It wasn't just Upman, but
hard to see from here in the studio. I thought that was, could have gone either way, but it looks like Westminster ball outside.
And that's Cam Webb there on the far side, on the sideline. With 6.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Still anybody's game. We have a tie game, 7-7, on the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. It's been a good one here from Manchester Valley.
Really everything that we've wanted it to be. I think a little different in terms of scoring profile. Great feed there by Armsmeyer. Great check there by Hackler.
Yeah, Spiegel had a great chance, but Spiegel gets the ball back. He had a great chance to score on the doorstep. Oh, something went flying. Looked like the ball did too, and now the Mavericks have it.
Simon Calhoun getting the ball off the carpet.
No ride there along the sideline, and Calhoun will bring it all the way in. Junior defender, Clark. Oh, knocked down by Travis Mann on defense, and now we got some defensive-minded action. Do they keep it in?
Oh, see,
bumping for it.
Pat,
sideline.
Tough play there.
It was tough. That was Fritz trying to get it.
Yeah, Fritz in that situation is really going to want to play just the ball. You know, in that situation, play the ball, see if you can get a push with possession, cheat code. But in general, don't try to slow down because at that point you're only bringing more attention to the situation.
Now let's see. Maybe they might have ruled a timeout. And speaking of Man Valley, we'll go to girls lacrosse only for a couple days from now. Tuesday the 15th, our next Game of the Week broadcast figures to be another doozy. Man Valley girls at Century. A couple of state contenders year after year. The Mavericks won it 2 years ago. Century's recently won a state title, and they will lock horns next Tuesday. We'll have it for you as the CM SportsNet Game of the Week from the Castle in Eldersburg. So I'm not sure if that was a timeout or not, but it was definitely a stoppage of play, but the Owls have the ball.
Looks like Manchester Valley wanted a timeout.
Okay, maybe they were deemed didn't have possession
from the sideline, but probably didn't have possession, and that's going to leave everybody frustrated.
That ball got chipped away. Ooh, no, they're going to say unforced. I thought it might have got deflected out of bounds. It did not.
You know, Manchester Valley's defense has really played stout these last 3 quarters.
Yeah. Dylan Upman's done a really good job.
Upman so far, we talked about Reed earlier, and
Calhoun,
Reed's had a great game, but Upman, for me, has been the lifeblood of this team. So
yeah, you mentioned Zengraf for Westminster on the defensive side. It's nothing. No knock on Gabe Howard, but his defense in front of him has done an outstanding job to keep it to where we are, 7-7.
And Upman's made a variety of different plays, putting the ball on the ground, getting a late check on a closeout, getting the ball off the ground, clearing the ball. It's been really impressive.
Yeah, he's done a good job cleaning up the crease. But here's Matthew Ferran with Zengraf facing him away from the front of the field or the box. Now he'll turn back around, and Clark to Feek. Guarded by Trey Fleming momentarily. Shot!
Oh, nice feed there.
Oh, it was a save. I don't think Zengraf knew where it was.
Was a little confused as well, but his ability to get down on things has been awesome. I'm surprised Manchester Valley hasn't tested him more high, but again, tough feed into the crease, so Zengraf just
good look too. I mean,
stood in his head.
Yeah, they had a good look. Just a great job by Zengraf, giving him a dozen saves so far by my count. And stand on his head is one way to say it. I mean, he's given up 7 goals, but those 12 saves, more than half of them have been solid
Yeah,
saves.
they've been really, really important saves. There's been no kind of one-off saves for Zengraf.
Spiegel got collared up there defensively by Calhoun and Luca Brown playing some defense. Hitchcock dropped it for a second, but we're down to 3:15 to go here in regulation. Hitchcock drew a double. Now Zepp comes from around the net. Far side.
Nice hitch there by Webb.
Shot never
blocked,
got there.
though.
Yeah, shot never got there. And there's Dylan Upman with the ground ball.
Good overpass and try to get this ball up the far side.
Upman's helmet came off on the far side of the field, and we may have a penalty. Let's see. There's Coach Piper over there in the Man Valley sweatshirt, hands on his hips, right near the scorer's table. He's getting talked to by the official. There you see Coach Piper and one of the referees of the game. Everybody's bundled up on that sideline, Grady. They got their sweatshirts on. The scorekeeper's doing their best to stay warm.
Safe to say it's a little colder than it is in here.
We can't complain. I'm not going to complain. It's always a little toasty in here, but it feels good. To be honest, I know we're not at the game, and it's always fun to be there. I'm okay sitting right here in the toasty studio on a day like this. We're supposed to be spring, man. It's mid-April almost. What's the deal? We can't get to 50 degrees these last couple of days.
It's a bunch of plot twists for a forecast. Is it going to rain? Is it going to be cold? Oh, wait, it's freezing?
We should know by now it's Maryland weather.
Yeah, fair.
You've been here long enough. You know it. Under 3 to go. The Owls have the ball, maybe on that far sideline. Yep, and they're going to bring it in. So I guess maybe an equipment thing, because I did see Upman's helmet come off. Can't speculate, but the Owls had the ball. And there's Hitchcock, and right on him is Connor Stack. We've heard that matchup a couple times here tonight. This is Wareheim, gets around one defender. Ooh, tried to get it to Webb. That's going to go out, and it's going to be Man Valley's ball. So we talked about the unforced errors. That's 2 now in the last 3 or 4 possessions coming up against Westminster.
Yeah, Connor Stack's played really well. Upman's kind of gotten the attention, but Connor Stack has played tremendously so far.
That was a tough pass. Nick Ferrano lost his footing, but stayed with it and helped the Mavs keep it.
Helped by a couple bounces, and this.
Oh, and there's a goal. Feek found Clark, and that was point-blank range.
The Manchester Valley was able to find beauty in the chaos.
Yes.
Just to keep their heads down, get the ball off a bounce, really important. Play with your head up and throw it forward is tremendous. And I've seen that a time or two against John Piper teams. So good on them.
Mavs have the lead. 2:13 to go. 8-7. Saw Feek there with his 2 goals, just freshly added 1 assist, so 3 points on the night for Feek. And these face-offs down the stretch here, I don't have to tell you, Coach, they're going to be tremendously critical toward the team's success.
Westminster's had the hot hand all game long. It's just Manchester Valley's going to want to play clean off the grass and then make sure that they clear anything that they put on the ground.
13th face-off win by my count against 6 for Man Valley, yet the Mavs lead 8-7, sort of belying the fact that that face-off stat is so important. You saw Jack Hitchcock put his hands out almost like a quarterback does, to slow down. As far as my count, Coach Mike Fleming should have both of his timeouts still. I don't believe there's been a timeout in the second half.
I think you're right, Pat, and I think for sure, like Westminster, the clock is on your side. We don't play with a shot clock. And additionally, Manchester Valley, you don't want to play so aggressively to kind of like limit their opportunities that you then get a penalty, because that would be really detrimental.
Minute 25. Owls passing it around. Coming up on 70 seconds left in regulation. Hitchcock hadn't had a ton of looks today. Would he be the one that tries to tie this game? Or when the Mavericks hold off Westminster? And there's your timeout.
There's one of those two
Probably
timeouts.
a smart idea there.
For sure, you don't get to keep them.
You can't take them home with you, right? All right, so if you're Coach Fleming here in the huddle when you go to the sideline, you're down 1:04 left. There's no panic in the huddle, but there's a sense of urgency.
No panic in the huddle. Ironically, the last couple of possessions, you've seen them attack a little bit more from the wings. Go back to your bread and butter. Take a short stick defensive midfielder, go behind X, attack from there, whether it be with a two-man game or just an individual dodge. But if you are going to do an individual dodge, you want to make sure you've got the roll-off guy, so any shot is then backed up. What would really be frustrating is, a challenge for either one is keep their footing, okay? Because in this situation, smaller steps are going to be really important. On the flip side, a shot not backed up, potential clear for Manchester Valley, and not successful could be really detrimental. We might be in a situation where they get the ball out but don't clear it successfully, and then you're in transition.
Fundamentals, obviously they need to score a goal here. That doesn't need to be said, but you just mentioned a lot of things those are the things you work on every day to make sure in these situations you're buttoned up.
For sure.
We'll see who is more buttoned up in the final 64 seconds of regulation. Back-to-back good ones with Coach Breen here, game of the week style. We got to bring you in all the time for these boys lacrosse games.
We're just following the script, apparently.
We had a one-goal game at the Lions Den a few weeks ago, and Liberty held South Carroll off by 1. It was a good game, and this one, a one-goal game.
Yeah, it's really, Pat, the beauty of Carroll County lacrosse, especially this year. You're going to have a lot of really
parity,
tight games, and then both teams are going to have to play a really good Century team this year.
Sure. Now, I would say, too, with that second timeout, you could certainly, if something's not going your way in the first 10, 15 seconds, you can call it again, right, and try to draw something else up. Oh, there's a shot on it, went in.
Lefty shot. I thought
Tyler Wareheim.
With a really good job spinning the ball, getting Manchester Valley in a couple different rotations and putting it far side.
Wareheim did it himself. That was just a short, quick shot from the left side, and it got past Howard. And maybe not the primo selection you were looking for, but hey, Wareheim made it work, and it was good enough for him. It's good enough for the Owls. And it's 8-8. Nice play. Nice draw and design play.
And now Westminster can be kind of a bit more aggressive because they've played hot at the X. All of a sudden, you could see some transition being pushed here. They're not just trying to tie it. Hey, maybe we can go for the win with 46 seconds left.
Saw Coach Fleming down in the three-point stance there. And let's see, Keys got it.
Oh, there it is. That second timeout.
Yep.
Pat, you did a good job mentioning that earlier. And
thank you.
That's why you save those things, right?
That's why you save them, right? So yeah, we got a doozy coming here. It's 8-8, basically 41 seconds left. And you mentioned it, Grady, just 1 second ago. They could play, not with house money, but they could play aggressive because they've been dominating the faceoff. So Keys and Stinnett win that faceoff real quick. Let's call our second timeout and potentially set up the game-winning play.
Yep.
If you're Man Valley at this point, momentum has gone away from you a little bit. You're still playing well. What's Coach Piper talking about in this final time?
Play smart. The last thing you want to do is take a penalty at this point.
Sure.
You don't want to play so aggressive to do something unsportsmanlike or contact ahead or something along those lines.
Nothing like that. Yeah.
46 seconds is now 30 seconds with a penalty.
Yeah, no, they're not down, right? It's tied. So this is a different mindset. If you're down 1, you got to rush a little bit on defense and try to double the ball. You can play straight up here and lean on your defense. Has been playing really good so far. And we said maybe 1st to 8 would win as a joke, but now it looks like maybe 1st to 9 is going to win.
Quite prophetic.
With 41 seconds, officially 40.9 ticks on the scoreboard, and we'll see what the Owls got. And yeah, when they tied the game there, they knew that they were riding pretty high because of the face-off success they've had so far. And that was Rowan Keys again, who has done a good job along with Grant Stinnett. So we are underway. Clock has resumed, and Ken Webb will put it in the box. The JV game is following this, but we've got the varsity finale for you here. 30 seconds in regulation. Hitchcock right up front. Armsmeyer scores.
Wow.
That was easy. It made it look easy.
That was a really great play to have his head up like that. Unfortunate for Manchester Valley because, you know, that's just a defensive miscue to leave a guy pretty naked like that on the doorstep.
We saw that exact play in the first quarter early, and Armsmeyer knew it, set up shop right in front, and Hitchcock knows where he needs to put the ball, and he delivered 9-8. And now we switch out. Now it is Owen Miller at the X. And Keys helps his team get the face-off. What?
Oh, here we go.
Did he actually win that one? And a timeout, Man Valley, correct? I thought Westminster won it, but maybe the ball hit the ground?
Ball hit the ground pretty quickly, and Coach Piper knew that he needed to call that last time out of his.
He sure did, so not over
as soon as
yet.
They had possession.
Not over yet.
And frankly, Pat, in this situation, it's 9-8. There's 18 seconds left. That 18 seconds is going to probably feel a little bit longer than we think, especially now that they have possession. You know, that's not a question mark.
Right. And it's plenty of time
yes,
to run a play
for
for Man Valley. And now you flip it around. If you're the Owls, like you were saying maybe about 30, 40 seconds ago, you got to button up the fundamentals again. No pushes in the back. One more look at that goal and just, not saying it was a miscue, but the defender, no one got back. Or no one, you saw that late slide. Upman tried to slide over from the left side. It was too little too late. That's a quick pass. They've been working on that probably all year. Nothing Gabe Howard could do at that point. Armsmeyer puts it in. Hitchcock celebrates the pass, and just a nice goal. Yeah, just not the extra help. It wasn't that off-ball help there that Man Valley needed.
Yeah, Manchester Valley, you know, if that's the way that this game ends, Manchester Valley's going to be more frustrated about themselves rather than anything else.
But not done yet. 18 seconds to go. Here we go. Can Westminster's defense hold them off? 10 seconds. Oh, ball down. Outside of the box. 2-1, that's how it's going to end.
Kind of reminiscent of that Florida-Houston game the other night, Pat.
You got it.
You know, a lot of different things, and it's a defensive closeout and a scramble for the ball.
Wow.
So Westminster's going to feel pretty good with that win because that Manchester Valley team's solid.
Very solid. 2 late goals for Westminster. The Owls can celebrate. They leave town with a win, and not to say it felt like an escape, but they certainly escaped with that win there. Down 8-7 late in the game. That's intestinal fortitude time,
yes,
right?
For sure.
Your final score, Westminster 9, Man Valley 8. That was a doozy. The game winner goes to Liam Arnsmeyer in the final few seconds, and that's our final score from Manchester Valley. The Owls hand the Mavericks their first loss of the season, and now they are 3-0. Is Westminster in Carroll County play. So you see the final huddles there, and we'll have some post-game coverage for you coming up. But first, Coach, your thoughts about, let's just go right to the end of the game there, how Westminster handled its poise. They didn't really wilt when they were down a goal there late.
No, I think it showed what we were talking about off air earlier, of just how deep that Westminster offense is. To be able to have multiple potential ball carriers, multiple setup guys, multiple finishers. So that's really Westminster's strength, and really Wes Zengraft. Wes Zengraft was tremendous.
He was huge.
12, 13 saves, all of them at crucial moments, none of them easy. So good on that young man.
Yeah, and I was. You can speak to this too. I was impressed with their, the way Man Valley's defense held its own against a team that can score goals. We saw them averaging 10 goals a game
for sure
before it started. I was going to say an early season game, but really we're in the middle of the season already. So a good barometer though for both these squads that are both looking to make noise deep in the playoffs. I was impressed with how Westminster finished the game.
Yeah, kind of what we were leading in. Manchester Valley, I think, people saw Miller graduate and they're like, okay, what's Manchester Valley? Manchester Valley's deep. They're talented. Their defense, as Reed was saying in the pregame, the defense is really stout coming back. I think on a dry field, this game might have looked a little different. I don't want to say that it would have a different outcome. But in general, Westminster's ability to tie things up and get the ball off the ground in the middle of the field really bode well for them this year.
We're going to go ahead and take a look at the second half highlights here and see how this one ended up. It was a thriller that came right down to the final minute of, or seconds rather, of regulation. And, again, we saw defense shine on both ends of the field. There weren't a ton of goals in this, in this game. The one that turned out to be the first 1-9 got the win. Just how impressed were you overall with defense? We mentioned Upman, we mentioned McNamara for Westminster and Zengraf and a couple other guys as well. I thought defense was almost just as impressive as offense.
For sure, and guys were making plays that needed to be made in a variety of ways, and that's ground balls, late checks, soaking shots. Like there were a couple seemingly open looks that didn't even make it to the cage.
Correct.
And that could have swayed this game one way or the other. So good on both defenses. Usually not the unit we talk about when we talk about these two schools. So I was impressed.
Heads up play, we just saw it there from Ryan Clark. Gavin Reed gets a late goal. The Mavs had a little bit of momentum late. Another goal there in front. And the Mavericks did score some goals late, and they had a little bit of the advantage. Connor Feet got that one. This one from Zepp, where he decided to take it himself, got them kind of back in the game. A big save by Zengraft at the other end as the Mavs were trying to get back into it too. It's a great save there with a shot by Luca Brown. It was a good shot too by Luca Brown. Feek, a nice pass there on the far side. Clark gets his second goal. It went back and forth, Grady, in the final quarter. And then Wareheim, again, the left-handed shot. We didn't think maybe he'd take that shot to tie it up 8-8. And you said they could play with confidence. They won the face-off and then led to this. Hitchcock, Liam Arnsmeyer right in front. He knows what to do with it. He gives them the 9-8 lead. They win the face-off officially, but lost the ball, so the Mavericks got it back, got a chance to go down and try to tie the game. There you go. There's your final save, or your final stats rather from the game. But much like Houston did in the national championship game on Monday, Man Valley was unable to get a good look to the cage, and that just again goes to show you what the defenses did today.
For
on
sure.
both sides, and Westminster had the last laugh.
For sure. And, for a 9-8 game to be as kind of leaned one way in saves and face-offs, it really kind of says something. In general, too, like a couple things here or there, this game might have gone differently, but I think both teams are only going to kind of intensify their hunger. I think Manchester Valley now is going to look, not too far down the road, but down the road when they, playing a team like Century, because before you know it, we could have something like a three-way tie for the county.
Absolutely, and you mentioned it. They both have to play Century still, and the Knights, are not going to go quietly.
No,
obviously, as the reigning county champs. With that win, that puts the Owls at 3-2 overall and 3-0 in county play. So all three of their wins have been county wins. The Mavs go to 5-1 and 3-1, but again, a lot of season left for them as well. So just a really good boys lacrosse game, and it was fun to bring it to you guys. But we're not done just yet. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the CMSportsNet player of the game. So for Grady Breen and Pat Sester, we're not done just yet. Coming right back for the end of the post game and recap things one more time. The game of the week, wrapping things right up.
My name is Cooper Sheeler. I'm a senior at Winters Mill, and I'm here interning at the Community Media Center. I recently saw this opportunity because I was playing football over at Winters Mill, and I saw the Community Media Center filming and broadcasting a couple of our games. So I thought that was a really cool way to connect with the community, and I really wanted to be a part of that. Pretty much what I do throughout the day is I help with graphics throughout their game on segments and game of the week, and I also help out prepare stats for all the seasons, the spring and the winter and the fall. I update all of those, and I pretty much go around and I can just help out. I can help out at games when they're preparing for a game of the week. I've done a couple podcasts here at Community Media Center. I would highly recommend people come in here for an internship. It's a lot of fun. The people that work here are really nice, and you get to experience a lot of cool things that you've probably never done before.
Gear up. Adult volunteers are needed for robotics tournaments. First Chesapeake, part of a global robotics community for youth ages 4 to 18, seeks adult volunteers to serve as referees, judges, and support staff at tournaments across Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia, each year from November to April. No robotics experience is required. These free events inspire youth to explore STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, while fostering leadership and teamwork. Volunteer today. Sign up online at firstchesapeake.org/volunteer. Let's gear up for the future.
Hey there, I'm Pat Stetzer.
And I'm Michael Duffy, inviting you to join us for The Score and more.
Each week we'll talk about high school sports in Carroll County. We'll share information about upcoming games, highlight coaches and athletes, and much more.
We'll even try to have a little fun along the way. Don't miss the Score and More podcast presented by CMSportsNet.
The Score and More Sports podcast is available online at carrollmediacenter.org and on a variety of podcast channels.
CMSportsNet Player of the Game is brought to you by Genova's To Go.
Welcome back to the CMSportsNet Game of the Week, and we are joined now by the CMSportsNet Player of the Game, Liam Arnsmeyer. Westminster, can you hear us, Liam?
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, congrats on the win. Pat Stetzer and Grady Breen here with you. I wanted to ask you first, take me through the last play. You guys won the face-off. It's a tie game. Jack goes behind in exposition. Just give me an idea of what was going on and what was the play.
We just wanted to take it nice and slow, run it through X with Jack. He's a great dodger, and just run our rotations. So I just back cut and scored. We went up.
And also, how important was it today the way you guys dominated the face-offs? You tied the game when Tyler scored the goal. You had to feel pretty good about things because you knew win a face-off there, call a timeout, and set up the game-winning play. That was a huge day from Grant and also Ronan. Talk about those guys.
Yeah, it's definitely huge when you can win the face-off. Helps a lot. Definitely helped us win today. We just got to keep getting the face-offs, and we can excel.
Now, Liam, Wes Zengraff was huge for you guys today. I think something like 12 or 13 saves. Are you guys surprised by that? What does that kind of performance mean to you guys as a team?
It's huge. I mean, he's been working hard in practice, making saves every day. So it definitely doesn't surprise us. He did his job. He did it good. Thank God for him.
Yeah, big day for Wes. He gets the pizza at the end of the day, I'm sure. I want to ask you too, just about the game itself.
Yeah.
What's this mean for you guys? They hadn't lost a game yet. You go to their field. It's back and forth. You kind of scored early. Back and forth we go after that. You guys kind of settled down. But to get a win against an undefeated team like that who wants to win a county title, what's it mean for you guys who, look, 3-2 right now, but undefeated in the county? Just what does a game like this mean to you guys?
It's huge. We're hungry. We want to win the county. It's just a huge game. That's pretty much about it.
Yeah, nothing more needs to be said, man. Liam, congrats on the win. Good luck the rest of the year. Thanks for joining us for a few minutes and giving us some of your time.
Thanks, Liam.
All right, thank you.
All right, there he goes, Liam Arnsmeyer, CMSportsNet Player of the Game. Coach, he didn't mince words. Like, he knew what the importance of the game. He knew what they had to do there down the stretch, and good on them for getting the ball to him, and then good on him for getting the goal.
Yeah, for a kid really known for his feeding to put the game-winning goal away is certainly impressive and shows what kind of talent Westminster has.
That's going to do it for us here for the CMSportsNet Game of the Week. I want to thank Grady Breen, man. I appreciate you as always for coming in and always short notice. I know we're supposed to do it later on, but you came in and did another one, and just picked up where he left off, so I really appreciate that.
Thanks, Pat.
Be sure to catch all of our high school sports content online on Facebook and YouTube, and you can also visit our website, CMSportsNet.com. Also, a special thanks to Man Valley AD Liz Padgett for her cooperation and making our broadcast possible. Gets a thumbs up from Coach. And, of course, thanks to the CM Sportsnet Player of the Game, Liam Arnsmeyer. It's a tough one to say. Liam Arnsmeyer for sharing some time with us. And don't forget, of course, you can watch us on cable channel HD 1072 and follow us on Instagram at CM Sportsnet Action. So for Liam and Grady Breen, I'm Pat Stetzer saying have a good rest of your night. And when the weekend comes, have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.
CM Sportsnet is made possible by Genova's To Go, Carroll Lynx, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, and Absolute Landscapes.
Hungry? Genova's to go. Pizza, pasta, subs, and more. Fresh hot pizza right from the oven. Genova's to go. A mouth-watering cheesesteak just off the grill. Genova's to go. Fresh baked bread and plump wings seconds from the fryer. Genova's to go. Genova's to go carry-out, delivery, mobile device, and online ordering is available at all locations. Westminster, Hampstead, Manchester, and our newest dining room in Eldersburg. For lunch, dinner, or any time in between. Genova's to go.
There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center, your sport, anytime.
At Absolute Landscape, we believe that a great landscape is about transforming a space to exceed every expectation. From intricate hardscapes to lush green gardens, our goal is to bring vision to life. Creating outdoor environments for our clients, we offer services from design to installation and maintenance of your outdoor space. Enjoyment all year round is what Absolute Landscapes is all about.